team like Kyrie and KD. Or the Lake Show with King James and AD. Wish I could match him up with the bad boys from the 80s. But no black and white, I need that in HD. HenDawgz.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy HenDawg, and we back to it. You know how we do it. Remaking my NBA GOAT pyramid. This should be a good one, man. But before we get into it, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. We are on the way to 10K. I've been saying it for too long, so that means y'all not listening. If you right there that's watching, man, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and like this video. If you like this video, go ahead and write something in the comments. But most importantly, just enjoy this video, man. I was saying this in one of my other ones. It's like, I want this channel to be, you know, just a place for y'all to go to when y'all bored. You know, y'all might not be having the greatest day. Just when, you know, any type of, you know, negative stuff going on in the day, I want y'all to be able to be like, you know what? Let me go check out the HenDawgz channel today so he can brighten my day. Like, that's what my goal is for y'all, man. So hopefully that I'm doing that. If not, then I got some work to do. But let's get into this video. We got remaking my NBA GOAT pyramid. And all I'm gonna say is Kobe better be tier 2. No less than tier 3, man. But we gonna see what Jimmy Hot Roller do. But let's get into it, man. Let's get it.
About 3 years ago, I released my GOAT pyramid, featuring 30 of
Kobe
what I
2.
believe to be the greatest NBA players of all time. And it's okay, but it could use some work. So today, we're going to be updating the NBA GOAT pyramid.
So that was the old one right there.
Today's video is brought to you by SeatGeek, a new NBA...
This video is not brought to you by SeatGeek because they're not paying me, but I would love if they did. Let's work, SeatGeek.
A few weeks ago, Shaq shared this basketball GOAT pyramid on Instagram. And I only know this because people were tagging me in the comments thinking it was mine. But it's not. The dead giveaway was LeBron being on tier 3. Also, current day Steph on tier 4 was a massive red flag. And a pretty solid player by the name of Hakeem Olajuwon was nowhere to be found on this pyramid at all. So, as cool as it would be to have Shaq share some content from the channel, this NBA GOAT pyramid is from someone else.
No, that's so disrespectful. How the hell is Vince Carter on there but Hakeem Olajuwon is not? And that's no diss to Vince Carter, but come on now. Come on now. Some people got Hakeem better than Kareem. So how the hell is he not on this list? It had to be a mistake. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say it was a mistake.
But it did get me thinking. With all of the events that have taken place over the last 4 NBA seasons, I think it's time we update our GOAT pyramid. So here's the pyramid I made 3 years ago, May 23rd, 2019 to be exact. Which means since this video was released, 4 new teams have been crowned champions, 4 MVPs have been awarded, and there has been 3.5 seasons worth of NBA context to consider for our new pyramid. Now I want to keep this new pyramid at 30 players like our original one. So if I add any players, I unfortunately have to take players off as well. And just like with my original GOAT pyramid, there are a few factors I'm going to be considering throughout this process. A player's peak, which I value more than longevity, their accomplishments and hardware, their skill and ability, and even the era that they played in.
Alright, yeah, so what I want y'all to do right now before we continue to go is what current players do y'all think should be on this list? Like, just even tier 5. Like, what current players? And I want the first person that sticks out is Giannis. Like, 3 years ago, Giannis wouldn't have been on this list, but the things he's done in the last 3 years, I think Giannis should be on that list. Obviously Steph Curry, obviously LeBron James, KD. It's not too many current players who I think should be on this list, but let me know who y'all think should be on there and why. Kawhi Leonard, maybe? I don't know.
And of course, just like with my original GOAT pyramid, these selections are all based on my personal opinion. So with that out of the way, let's make some changes to this pyramid. So, first things first, I have to make one massive adjustment to the top of this pyramid. Some may agree with it, some may not. But after winning his 4th championship and 4th Finals MVP while climbing every all-time leaderboard over the last 4 seasons, LeBron James has earned a spot in Tier 1. Because at this point, the all-time discussion has virtually become Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and then everyone else.
No.
I still have MJ as the GOAT, but the gap between MJ and LeBron...
I don't want to keep pausing the video, but no. I'm a Laker fan, y'all. Y'all know. But LeBron James is not Tier 1. He's not neck to neck with Michael Jordan. I don't care. He's not. I've been watching him since he was in high school. No. That's all I can say is no. No.
Feels smaller than the gap between LeBron and whoever comes next. So I feel this change was necessary and well earned. But that leaves us with 3 players on tier 2. And that just looks weird. So when considering peaks and accolades and impact on the game and every other factor I can conjure up, I've decided to move Bill Russell and Larry Bird up to tier 2. In our original pyramid, I had Magic on tier 2 and Bird on tier 3. But with LeBron moving up, this gives room for Bird and Magic to be on the same tier, as they should be. And Bill Russell, 11 rings, greatest defensive player of all time, there's not much to be said here. Now there's 2...
Is it though? Should Bill Russell be in that tier 2? I don't know. You know, rings is a big part of it, but was he better than Hakeem Olajuwon, Kareem, Shaq? Like, Hakeem, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I already said Hakeem, but I don't know. What y'all think?
2 players in particular who have solidified their legacies over the last 4 seasons and have earned spots on tier 3 with Shaq, Hakeem, Duncan, and Wilt. Those players are, of course, Steph Curry and Kevin Durant.
KD,
Since
tier
2019,
3?
Steph has proven without a shadow of a doubt that he's the greatest shooter of all time. And after winning his 4th championship and first finals MVP last season, he's made the jump into tier 3. Steph's brilliance and consistency season after season has extended his prime past where I think most fans would have ever considered. Now in his 13th season, at 34 years old, he's not only one of the best players in the league, he's putting together arguably the best season of his historic career. And the same could be said for Kevin Durant. He's got all the hardware, a league MVP, 2 championships, and 2 finals MVPs. But what has bumped Durant from tier 4 into tier 3 is his relentless consistency as a generational talent. Since 2019, he's made 2 more All-NBA teams, while averaging 29, 7, and 6. And this has earned him the jump from tier 4 to tier 3. And that brings us to tier 4, which has some pretty major changes to it. And our first change comes with John Stockton, who gets demoted into tier 5, which puts him at about the 5th or 6th greatest point guard of all time, behind Magic, Steph, Oscar, and Isaiah. Scottie Pippen also got demoted to tier 5. I made this decision because despite Scottie's critical role throughout the Bulls dynasty, his talents as an individual player just don't warrant him a spot amongst players like Oscar Robertson, Karl Malone, and Julius Erving. And unfortunately, Dwayne Wade and Isaiah Thomas get demoted into tier 5 as well. All-time great players. But being in tier 4 means a player is, at worst, a top 21 player of all time. And I just don't consider Wade or Isaiah to be of that caliber. But I would consider them both to be top 30 players of all time, with similar relatively short but brilliant peaks and playoff heroics throughout their careers. And with these changes, tier 4 becomes a barren wasteland with only 3 players. So we've got some promoting to do. Starting with Jerry West, 12 All-NBA teams, Finals MVP, and 5 All-Defensive Team selections with career averages of 27, 6, and 5 a game. The only other players in NBA history to achieve these career averages are LeBron James and Kevin Durant. So the logo gets the bump into tier 4. My next promotion goes to Moses Malone. 3-time league MVP, a finals MVP, and one of the greatest rebounders the game has ever seen.
I forgot about Moses Malone. So yeah, we're currently filming season 2 of Winning Time, and Moses Malone has, is talked about a lot in season 2. And I didn't realize, like he just said, he was a 3-time MVP winner. Like, that's crazy. Like, I didn't know that. I didn't know how good Moses Malone was, but him and Kareem used to go at it. So I say that to say this. Get ready for season 2.
Honestly, he should have never been in tier 5 to begin with. So let's put him where he truly belongs.
True.
And my last pair of promotions goes to Dirk Nowitzki and Kevin Garnett. The individual dominance of both KG and Dirk that spanned over 2 decades is matched by only a handful of all-time greats. But if not their sustained excellence over the course of 21 seasons, it was their massive peaks that earned them a spot in tier 4. 2 of the most skilled, versatile, and imposing big men the game has ever seen. Which leaves us with tier 5 and some tough decisions to make. There are only 2 players that made my original GOAT pyramid that did not make the cut in my new pyramid. And those players are Bob Pettit and Allen Iverson. But with all these adjustments, there are now 2 spots open for 2 new players. Of all the players who missed the cut the first time around, the players who I considered for my new pyramid were Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, James Harden, Chris Paul, and Kawhi Leonard. Of all the active players in the NBA, aside from LeBron, Steph, and Durant, these are the only players who even have a shot at making the pyramid.
Giannis
and since my original pyramid 3.5 years ago, Nikola Jokic has made 4 All-NBA teams, 3 of them being first-team selections. He's won back-to-back MVPs, he's led the Nuggets to the conference finals, and he's put up 2 of the most historically efficient and productive seasons in league history.
I think Jokic is going to be one of those players where when he's done, I'm not going to appreciate Jokic. I'm just speaking for me. Maybe for a lot of people won't feel the same way, but I don't think I'm going to really be able to appreciate Jokic until he's done and like we see his overall, accomplishments, because just the way he plays is just so lazy, and the fact that he hasn't won anything yet, like, it's hard for me to put him on this type of pyramid. Like, he's just not that type of player to me yet. Like, yes, he's great, he puts up great numbers, but I'm just not appreciating it all the way for what he's doing right now. Like I said, great player, but to put him on a GOAT pyramid, like, no. But Giannis and Kawhi should be on here, and Chris Paul. I wouldn't put Harden and Jokic on there, but Kawhi Leonard, Chris Paul, and Giannis, they should be on here.
Only a matter of time before Jokic joins the GOAT pyramid. But at the moment, it's just a bit too soon. Now, for the case of James Harden, I had to sit and really think about his potential addition to the pyramid. Harden had one of the highest offensive peaks in league history, averaging 31, 8, and 6 a game over the course of 6 seasons. He's won an MVP, he's made 7 All-NBA teams, and he's just one of 7 players in NBA history to win a scoring title and an assist title. But where James Harden falls short compared to other players on the pyramid is his performance in the playoffs. He just hasn't broke through on the biggest stage. And the heliocentric offense that allowed him to put up such unbelievable stat lines became a weak point to his teams in the postseason. So for now, James Harden does not crack the GOAT pyramid. The next player I considered was Chris Paul, one of the most complete point guards in recent years. And despite his lack of playoff success, he has managed to completely transform every team he's been a part of. CP3 is a tricky one, because as I touched on before, if you compare Chris Paul to John Stockton, who is in tier 5 on my pyramid, their careers are almost identical. And after CP3's first trip to the finals last season, their overall numbers and accomplishments only become more and more similar with time. Chris Paul had a higher peak, but Stockton's record-breaking ability to generate offense for nearly 2 decades, while being a lockdown perimeter defender, gives him a razor-thin edge over CP3, in my opinion. So for now, Chris Paul doesn't quite crack tier 5, which leaves us with the 2 new additions to my GOAT pyramid. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Kawhi Leonard. Since my original pyramid, which was released just before the end of the 2019 season, Giannis has went from a great, young, ascending player to a certified all-time great. In just 3.5 years, Giannis won a championship, 2 MVPs, a Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, 4 All-NBA first teams, 4 All-Defensive first teams, and an All-Star Game MVP, while averaging 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. That's a pretty solid 3.5-year stretch for the big man. So I had to add Giannis to the pyramid. And I'm going to put him comfortably in tier 4.
I was just about to say that. He needs to go to tier 4. And I almost kind of want to put him above Dirk. Only reason why. Like, skill set, give me Dirk. Even though, Giannis is very skilled. Like, I don't want to say that he's not skilled, but skill set, Dirk got it. He's one of the most skilled players I've ever seen, but I don't know if y'all remember this, but after Dirk won his first championship, he said that he had no motivation to win again. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I get it. Like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, he like, hey, I worked super hard to win an NBA championship, and I did it. So now I don't really have any motivation to do anything else, which I don't think Giannis has that mindset. KG don't have that mindset, even though KG, I think, only won 1 championship, but those type of players didn't have that mindset. So I would just having that mindset, I want to put Giannis above Dirk. But I don't know. I might have to move Dirk down to tier 5, man. Just for that simple fact. Let me know what I think about that.
Second and final addition, Kawhi Leonard is added to tier 5. My original pyramid was created 3 weeks before Kawhi won his second championship and second finals MVP, which led to his greatness stock skyrocketing. Now, Kawhi is a tough player to rank among any all-time scenario because when he's playing, he's one of the greatest players to ever lace up. But over the last few seasons, he just hasn't laced up a whole lot. But it's impossible to look past his 2 finals MVPs and his run as the best two-way player in the NBA. So Kawhi gets added to the pyramid, but just barely, sneaking into tier 5. And there it is, my updated NBA GOAT pyramid. And I want to point out a few interesting things that I noticed throughout the process of making this. If we break down the pyramid by position, there are 6 point guards, 3 shooting guards, 8 small forwards, 6 power forwards, and 7 centers featured on the pyramid. I initially thought centers would have the largest presence here, with big men running the league for nearly 6 decades, but turns out a well-rounded, versatile wing has been the ideal archetype for a potential NBA great. If we break the GOAT pyramid down by the decade that each player was drafted in, then we'll find that among all players who made it onto the pyramid, 4 of them were drafted in the 50s, 3 were drafted in the 60s, 2 were drafted in the 70s, a whopping 10 players were drafted in the 80s, 5 in the 90s, 4 in the 2000s, and 2 in the 2010.
Is that to say that the 80s was the best basketball? I know a lot of y'all gonna agree with that. A lot of y'all gonna say, yeah, the 80s, obviously the 80s is the best basketball. And that's a good argument right there. I think I might put this picture right here as the thumbnail though. I like this right here.
And since most players peak in the decade after they were drafted, it could be said that the 90s were the best era for NBA basketball. Or at least the era that featured the most all-time great talent. Giannis is the youngest player featured on this pyramid at just 28 years old, completely bypassing tier 5 altogether and landing on tier 4 after just 9 seasons in the NBA. This puts Giannis somewhere between the 15th and 20th best player all time. Giannis's ascent amongst the greatest players of all time was pretty quick, but we've seen a rapid climb to basketball royalty like this before. Back in 1996, the NBA announced the 50 greatest NBA players to commemorate the league's 50th anniversary. And despite some backlash on the selection, a 24-year-old Shaquille O'Neal was selected as a top 50 player all time after just 4 seasons in the NBA. The second youngest player that was selected for that exclusive Greatest 50 club was Scottie Pippen, who was 31. Back in 2009, sports writer and analyst Bill Simmons released his original basketball pyramid that featured 96 players. At the time, LeBron James was just 24 years old in his 6th NBA season. He hadn't won a league MVP yet, he had only made 1 trip to the finals at that point, and he just hit his peak. But a young LeBron not only made Bill's GOAT basketball pyramid, he was already so transcendently good that Simmons selected him as the 20th greatest player in NBA history. And after the last half-decade Giannis has put together, he has slingshotted himself onto the same trajectory. Now I have to mention the handful of players that just narrowly missed the cut. Those players were Steve Nash, Patrick Ewing, Allen Iverson, Jason Kidd, Bob Pettit, Bob Cousy, James Harden, Chris Paul, Nikola Jokic, and George Mikan. All great players, but when the spots are limited to just 30, the criteria to make the GOAT pyramid is a hefty one. I imagine if we redo this pyramid again in 5 years, we'll see Jokic on here.
So Pistol Pete, he wasn't that great in the NBA. He's not supposed to be on. Is he not supposed to be on this list? Like, I know what he did in college. They say he's arguably the greatest college player ever, but why wasn't he on this list, y'all?
Might see Luka Doncic on here, or possibly James Harden and Chris Paul. But for now, this is my new, and I think improved, NBA GOAT pyramid. Let me know what you think. Which players are too low? Which players are too high? Who was left out that you think should have made the cut? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, until next time.
Great video, Jimmy. Yeah, answer the question. What players were too low? What players were too high? What players got left off that needed to be on? Like, you know, give me some in-depth conversation about this pyramid, man. I think it was pretty good. I mean, obviously it wasn't perfect. You know, we can, you know, critique it as much as we can, as much as we want to, but I think it was a pretty good video, man. But I appreciate y'all for watching this with me. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel if y'all haven't already. Make sure y'all like this video if y'all like this video. And go ahead and write something in the comments, man. Let me know what other videos y'all want me to react to. I love reacting to stuff like this. This is super cool, man. So let me know what other videos y'all want me to react to. But See y'all soon, man. Or I hear from y'all soon. We out.